Fourth quarter GDP looking at 2.6%, which looks like a very big beat from expectations, which were 2.2%. So 2.6% coming in there. Personal consumption a touch lighter based on estimates. Business investment wound up picking up. So that does suggest that growth could be a little bit more stable and stronger versus reliant on the consumer. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
The CEOs decided now's the time to invest. That's not what I would have predicted, but it's good news ultimately.
Welcome back. Let's check in on business news now. China's economic growth has slowed to 6.2% in the second quarter, its worst performance in almost 3 decades, as the US-China trade war and weakening global demand took a toll on the world's #2 economy. Along with quarterly GDP growth figures today, we also have some clues as to how China's economy did in June. Growth in infrastructure investment has retreated from years of near 20% expansion, coming in at 4.1% growth in the first half of the year. Imports and exports both shrank in June from a year earlier. China's exports to the world rose only 0.1% on year during the first 6 months, while exports to the US dropped more than 8%.
News on the economic front is that a slump in the economy. The GDP figures have slumped to a new low of 5% for the last quarter. This is below expectations. In the last quarter, of the last financial year, the GDP numbers were at 5.8%, but Sakshi now slumping even lower than what most analysts were expecting at 5%.
GDP numbers for the third quarter out. Core sector growth has jumped to 6.7%, we're told, in January. If you can get that page up again, core sector growth jumping to 6.7% in January versus 4% in December. Oinitom joining us at this point for the latest on that story. Oinitom, make sense of these numbers for us. This is clearly going to come as a big relief for the government.
Absolutely, Ankita. In fact, at this point of time, if we look at these numbers, they really look very good compared to whatever we have been seeing in the past.
The Philippines' gross domestic product, or GDP, growth goes to reach 6.2% in the third quarter of 2019. The surprise growth rate is higher than the previous quarter's 5.5%.
2.1% growth for the second quarter. It's a step down from the 3% we saw first quarter, but still better than expected. How are you guys feeling about it?
Well, pretty good, actually. I mean, consumers were the hero. They had explosive economic growth, I guess, better than 4% at an annual.
Wall Street is looking for a big economic number this week. Retail sales figures for September come out first thing tomorrow morning, and the numbers are expected to show that we're getting in a spending mood ahead of the holidays. Todd Schoenberger joining me right now. All right, so why is this such a critical number?
Well, it is because it can show actually how the U.S. economy is doing, but also how American consumers are feeling. So Americans should be feeling a little bit better, especially about the economy. Household prices are going up. Plus, you also have to look at consumer sentiment and confidence. People feel just a little bit better these days, so therefore they're probably going to the malls to go shopping.